Okay, close your eyes for just a second. Seriously, try it. I want you to imagine a pretty harsh reality. What if you woke up tomorrow and literally every single bed in the entire world had just been destroyed? Just picture that. Tonight, when it's time to go to sleep, there is no soft mattress waiting for you. No fluffy pillow to cradle your neck. Instead, you're forced to just lie down on the freezing cold, rock-hard ground. You're tossing, you're turning, and you're probably battling a swarm of fleas all night long. Sounds like an absolute nightmare, right? Well, today we look at our beds as our ultimate safe haven, this cozy little spot where we rest, dream, and recharge. But 10,000 years ago, that safe haven was quite literally just a pile of dirt and straw. So welcome to this explainer, where we're going to trace the absolutely fascinating and honestly pretty unexpected journey of the bed.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Because that terribly uncomfortable thought of sleeping on the cold, unforgiving dirt 10,000 years ago, that wasn't just a thought experiment. It was the actual, everyday reality for early humanity. But how exactly did we go from tossing and turning on a bug-infested cave floor to resting on these incredibly engineered sleep systems we use today? Well, the journey of the bed is really the journey of human civilization itself. It's this wild story of how a very basic, desperate need for survival slowly, over time, transformed into the ultimate symbol of wealth, power, and eventually, modern health.
Section 1. A world without beds. You see, for early humans, a comfortable resting place just wasn't a luxury. It was absolutely vital to surviving the freezing, punishing ground.
Section 2. Mankind's first resting places. To tackle this, our ancestors created humble barriers out of straw, crushed leaves, and animal skins. The very humble birth of the bed.
Just look at the sheer scale of this chronological roadmap we've got here. It's wild to see how drastically human comfort has evolved. Starting all the way on the far left, 10,000 years ago, we've got those super simple piles of straw and leaves on the ground. Then, boom, we leap to ancient Egypt with these raised wooden frames. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and suddenly beds are covered in intricate gold carvings and stuffed with imported feathers. Then comes this massive, profound shift in the 19th century with the invention of metal springs. And finally, we arrive at the present day, where our beds are basically smart computers tracking our vital signs while we sleep. Let's move through this timeline together and see how it all builds, step by step.
So, moving out of the cave and into ancient civilization, we land in ancient Egypt. And right here, we see the very first major technological leap, elevating the bed. The pharaohs and the wealthy elites started sleeping on wooden frames that were raised just a short distance off the ground. But here's the really fascinating part. This wasn't initially done to make some grand social statement or just to look regal. It was actually a purely practical, highly functional solution. Raising the bed was literally the best way to escape the crawling pests, the scorpions, and the insects that completely overran the floors at night. So at this point, the bed was still at its core, just answering a physical survival need.
Section 3. The bed, symbol of wealth. Now, as we move into ancient Rome and the Middle Ages, the bed dramatically evolved from a physical necessity into the ultimate psychological symbol of power.
Notice the stark contrast here. This perfectly illustrates the immense wealth gap of the Middle Ages. On one hand, you've got kings and nobility. Their beds weren't just furniture. They were gigantic, imposing pieces of architecture right in the middle of the room. We're talking heavy, expensive curtains to block out the cold drafts, intricate gold carvings, and layer upon layer of incredibly soft feather and wool mattresses. Now, on the exact opposite side, you have your everyday commoners. Hundreds of years later, and they were still sleeping on hard wooden benches or, if they were lucky, basic sacks stuffed with the exact same straw their ancient ancestors used. It's crazy, but you can entirely measure a person's societal worth just by looking at what they slept on.
In fact, to truly wrap our heads around how highly prized these luxury beds were, we really just need to look at the marriage customs from back then. In many cultures, a beautifully crafted bed was considered such a tremendous financial asset, an absolute top-tier luxury item, that it was frequently given as a dowry. Yep, that's right. When a daughter was married, a literal bed was transferred as a major piece of generational wealth, right alongside things like land or gold. The bed was definitely no longer just for sleeping anymore. It was this undeniable massive display of a family's financial power.
Section 4. Spring Revolution and Mass Production. As the Industrial Revolution arrived, the wealthy's complete monopoly on a good night's sleep was permanently broken.
Let's take a look at the specific sequence of advancements that actually made this happen. Step 1. The invention of metal springs. All of a sudden, you had this incredible bouncy support system that didn't just clump up together like wool or flatten out like straw usually did. Step 2. Factory mass production.
We finally figured out how to build these spring mattresses quickly and efficiently and in huge, fast numbers, which of course inevitably leads us to step 3, affordable comfort for everyone. This specific sequence permanently transformed the bed from a super rare, hoarded luxury item into a universal, easily accessible tool for the absolute masses.
So, what's the crucial takeaway here? Well, you no longer needed a king's wealth just to get a good night's sleep. The Industrial Revolution fundamentally leveled the playing field of human rest. For the very first time in all of human history, your average, everyday worker could go home after a long shift, lie down on a mass-produced spring mattress, and genuinely experience a level of physical support and comfort that even ancient royalty literally couldn't have imagined. It was a total game changer.
Section 5. The bed in the technology era. Today, the bed has completely transitioned from a passive piece of furniture into an active manager of our bodily health.
I mean, just look at the wild modern innovations we have available to us right now. We've got memory foam that actually reacts to and molds perfectly around your own unique body heat. We have electrically adjustable frames that glide up and down with just the push of a button. We even have smart mattresses that are packed with invisible sensors that actively track your heart rate, your breathing, and your overall sleep quality while you're literally just lying there dreaming. But, there's a wonderfully ironic twist here. Despite all these incredible sci-fi level advancements, a huge percentage of people still strongly prefer the good old traditional spring mattress. Sometimes the classics really do hold up, for sure.
Now, however, this modern comfort story isn't entirely perfect. We definitely have to acknowledge that our incredible 21st century sleep technology comes with a whole new set of pretty serious challenges. The mass production of these modern foams and smart beds has introduced real environmental costs, heavily contributing to chemical pollution and requiring massive amounts of high energy consumption to manufacture. Because of this, the absolute next frontier for scientists and engineers isn't just making beds smarter, it's the really urgent push to design healthier, highly sustainable alternatives that can comfort us without totally harming the planet.
Section 6. The silent teacher of history. Because this entire journey perfectly mirrors the much larger story of human progress itself.
Ultimately, this explainer really highlights a pretty beautiful truth. The true value of a bed is not in its appearance, it's not in its gold carvings, and it's certainly not in its expensive fabrics. Its true value is purely in the peace it provides. Through literally every single era of history, the bed has been our sanctuary. It's the place that taught us how to truly rest, how to heal and care for our bodies, and how to safely build our dreams for tomorrow. We evolved it from straw to wood, from wood to metal, and from metal to smart tech, all in the pursuit of that exact peace.
As the source material so wonderfully puts it, the bed is the silent teacher of history. And I really want to leave you with that provocative thought. When you turn off the lights and your head hits the pillow tonight, just take a second to remember that the soft embrace you feel is the direct result of 10,000 years of human ingenuity. You are quite literally resting on a fascinating, constantly evolving piece of human history. So, if you found this journey as fascinating as I did, go ahead and drop the word bed in the comments right now to show you're part of this continuing history. Until next time, keep learning and sleep well.